So this video is to help you understand pie or circle graphs, okay? So let's suppose we did a like we were just watching the cars going down the road, okay? So we tallied up, we made these four categories for the types of cars that we see, okay? So 10 are SUVs. So in order to change this into a central angle to put in our circle, actually, I don't think you should need to do any work for this, right? A quarter, right? So a quarter of our circle, right? We could do a proportion, but I hope you recognize a quarter of our circle is 90 degrees. Okay, so we would label in here. And so I do say on the final to show your work, but you know, when it's something like a quarter, I would prefer you to have done it in your head. Okay, so these are SUVs, okay? And this is 90 degrees, okay? Now we have 5 minivans, okay? So, well, it shouldn't be, again, I think you should be able to do this in your head, because if 10 out of 40 is a quarter, right, then in 90 degrees, then half of that, right, ought to be half of 90 degrees, okay? But again, if you didn't have that thought process, you could certainly do this, and this will come up with 45 degrees, okay? So I can take my I'm going to put a dotted line here, and then when we finish our graph, we're going to like ignore some of the dotted lines. And then I'm going to put a solid line halfway, make the angle halfway in between. That looks good. Okay. And I'm going to label this with 45 degrees. And I'm going to label this with minivans. All right, so I'll just put mini V. Okay. Now, just to change things up a little bit, then, if we have 8 compact cars, okay? Again, of course, you could do a proportion. 8 out of 40 equals X out of 360, but let's do it differently. Let's take this, change it to a percent. Okay, so 8 divided by 40, that's, well, I can do that in my head, but that's a fifth, okay? And a fifth is 0.2, which is 20%, 0.2. So then if I want to take 20% of the 360 degrees to get myself the angle in my circle, then I would do 0.2 times 360, and I get 72 degrees. So 72 degrees is going to be a little bit harder to find exactly, okay? So what we've been doing in class is, so again, I'm going to put in the dotted lines, but you will ignore the dotted lines at the end of our graph, okay? So if I put a dotted line like this, and then I divided this up into thirds, right? Each one of these would be, see, that's not great. That's a bigger, that third's bigger than that. So, but 2 of these, so each of these would represent 30 degrees, right? A 90-degree angle divided up into 3 pieces is 30 degrees. And I want just a little bit more than that. So I need about 12 more degrees than 60. So about a little more than a third into the next area, okay? And again, I'm going to, since we have to ignore these lines used to help us, I'm going to color that in blue, right? Color that region in, and this region, so ignoring the lines I used to help me measure, and this is 72 degrees, which is compact. Okay, that would leave then the rest are mid-size. Okay, so again, ignoring the lines that I used to measure other angles, I'll go ahead and color this, I don't know, yellow. Okay, and so then I can label that the rest of these cars, so color it all in. We would do a better job than that. So we really had some crayons or colored pencils. And the rest of this region then would be what's left over for midsize. Okay, so again, I hope that